Sorry, guys. I'm just communicating with him to let him know to dial back in. I don't know. We should still be live. Oh, there you are.
There you are.
All of a sudden, we just went offline completely. I was like, wow, we got some potent energies out there.
Yeah.
Spirit has a, also, I think Spirit has a definitely a personality too. So, who knows?
Oh yeah, a big sense of humor. I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
It's got a
big
hell of
sense
a
of
sense of
humor.
humor. Yeah. And really take everything with levity. Really take it lightly. Don't take it personal. Just like
Exactly.
have fun with it. But
Yeah.
anyway, lot of. I mean, I've already been through hell and back, and I'm going to speak from that place of already coming through the other side. And so when I share with you, is that as you begin to be pushed out of relationships or out of jobs and out of the banking and you start to lose possessions, whatever the case may be, my suggestion is to just follow that, accept that, move into a state of allowance, in a state of trusting that spirit sense, your higher self has something much grander in place in store for you, but it can't deliver that to you until you let go of what 3D, that illusion that is crumbling. It's crumbling as we speak today. It's not going to come back. In other words, the financial system is going away, and the political arena is going away, and the control is going away, and we're shifting from a collective consciousness ruled by our shadows to teach us the lessons of love. And if we can embody those lessons of love and see the perfection hiding behind the imperfections, and you can only do that when you move into a state of allowing the darkness to come to you, because it's that helping hand of God that looks like it's coming down to crush you as a tiny little human being, but it's not. It's here to push you out to freedom. And that's what this shift is all about. This shift is to move from a planetary slavery system, a human species in a slavery system, to a realm of complete sovereignty, where each and every one of us is the sovereign integral of the whole. In other words, each of us, a sovereign is noted as a monarch. A monarch is king or queen of their domain. And monarch is also a butterfly, where you fly free.
Yeah.
And see, where we are moving with this is where you will be neither the ruled nor the ruler of anyone else except Mawa. Because you are not separate from anything else or anyone else. This is the amazing thing you're going to find out when you step into and embody the trust that you have in the Creator that wants to live vicariously through this human instrument within its own creation. And you can sit back in the back seat as though you're in a limo and enjoy the ride, watching the wonders and magic that happens, because you won't discover the magic and the wonders until you move into the darkness of the unknown, because then as you illuminate the unknown, it appears to be magic that eventually becomes the new norm, which is a whole new reality that awaits every one of us. Yeah. And I'm just here to tell you, because I have crossed that. In fact, my journey was one in which I walked into this darkness with trust, and every step I took, after I took that leap of faith, the bridge would assemble itself for me to take each new step into the unknown without seeing where my steps were going. And then finally, the the bridge was built and the sign was given to me when Spirit took me across the border into Canada, and I went to the Lions Gate Bridge on the Lions Gate. And when I crossed that bridge coming back and forth, that was the ceremony that was spoken of months before in San Pedro Beach when I got kicked off the island of Avalon. I don't know if you remember that when I told you, but yeah, when I look back, and it was only just recently, just the last few days, that I recognized that connection, because I rewatched our interview where I was talking about it, and then that brings up stuff to me, because when I talk to you, I'm talking to myself just the same. That's like Spirit coming through, trying to tell me, because I'm not separate from you.
Right.
And if I'm trying to teach you something, I'm trying to teach myself something. If we can be open to that instead of having the ego in the way, saying that I know mightier than thou, you know what? When you've been through the crap that I've been through, you get very, very humble, and you realize that everyone's there for you to be a mirror, a reflection, to be a sounding wall. You know, we can hear those words come back to us. But yeah, I realized that guy, remember that guy around the campfire, after he got kicked off the island of Catalina and landed on San Pedro Beach and had spent the night under the campfire, that guy that came up and burned his paper in there and started talking to me and everything was resonating. He was talking to me about going up to Portland, and he's talking about, you know, burning the papers in a ceremony, because this was my life, or my ex-wife, and all this stuff. You know, like, you know, it's a ceremony, and I'm all thinking ceremony. Okay, well, I'll keep that in the back of my head. Well, sure enough, what did I do when I crossed the border of Canada? I walked across the Lions Gate Bridge as a ceremonial thing on that date, because it was so cool what I just did that day. And it was like, that's telling me that essentially I've completed making that bridge for myself. So now, symbolically speaking, because I've been there, done that, I can now speak the truth of my journey. And you know what? It's okay. I'm just sharing my journey, that in hopes that maybe it'll, you know, it may plant seeds within you. So when you get to that point, or the other person gets to that point, or somebody else has been across that bridge also, they can say, oh yeah, I get that with you, and I'm with you, or whatever. You know, we all start to party together, you know, because we see the light in all the darkness, and it's like, wow, what a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, man, there's just, it has everything to do with resting and ease and acceptance and allowance, because the moment we move into a state of resistance, the energy can't flow, and energy is information. Information is light. It's the answers we seek in the darkness. You know, when we say, oh, God, help me, you know, help me understand what's happening here, instead of saying, why did that jerk do that to me? Or why did that stupid bank do that? You know what? If that bank did something to you and garnished your wages or took your money, that's 3D saying, okay, it's time for you to go now. And I'm here to tell you that there's a new financial system waiting for you, waiting for all who are willing to put their trust in God and embody that trust. And actually, I would refer to myself as a living, factualized trust, because I have been through the gamut. I live outside the constructs of the necessity for, the need for money, which is the fiat currency. It is not the true currency or the true energy that each of us is built of, constructed of, put together with, because we are spiritual beings. The word spirit itself is synonymous with energy imbued with awareness.
Yeah.
All energy is intelligent energy. The rays coming from the sun is consciousness itself. It's the spirit of Christ. Call it whatever you wish to call it, but there's an intelligence in that light that's coming to the sun, to the planet. And that's why the plants reach for it. And that's why we soak up the warmth in it. And the food that we eat is nothing more than a transformer of that light into a carbon form that the body can consume, and which is, it's basically a step down transformer for the light of the sun and through photosynthesis.
Mm.
And as we turn into light beings, we will no longer have to eat of the plants and the animals of this planet. They won't have to sacrifice for the sake of the human, because the human will be a light being, and it will eventually feed off the light rays of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're going with this. It's going to take some time, but energetically speaking, we're going through DNA mutation or upgrades, where we transform from carbon-based to crystalline-based DNA.
Yeah.
And that's essentially a walking computer system. I mean, you're gonna be able to tap into that intelligent energy and get the answers you want. You don't have to go to school and be programmed through, to regurgitate whatever they want to teach you. You're not going to have to, learn from somebody outside yourself. You're going to learn, directly from source.
Yeah. What better place? Yeah.
From source force, the force. Become one with the force. As Yoda would say, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know, because of how many listeners are just tuning in that have not heard your story. We don't have to go through the whole story, but I want you just to kind of tap into, because if people are watching this, they're like, how did he get to this point, like detaching so much? Because you have literally detached from everything, identity and everything other than connecting with source and knowing that I am, And so can you just kind of briefly share that of your just
You're so funny.
I know it's hard to do.
You're so funny.
It's
I will try.
because the story is beautiful, but
I will summarize it as best I can here. Okay, my journey began when I got a call from Discover Bank. I had already gone through a process of letting go of my things that weren't working for me. I had a business for 25 years. I sold that business. I divorced my wife. My kids were already grown and gone. It was like the universe had already started pushing me out of, inspiring me in such a way to go ahead and start letting go. And I started recognizing patterns where I could see that there was something being orchestrated that I couldn't see, but I could feel that I was being guided, because the more I let go of, the more lighter I became, the less burdens I carried with me, and the more empowered or emboldened I became, and more information came flowing through. Like in the 2007, at the end of 2007, I was guided to see that there's, that the financial system was constructed. It's, the financial and the judicial, everything was tied together in a slavery system. And, the whole premise behind the stock market was corporations had to have ever growing profits. Well, that's not infinitely sustainable. Was a false narrative. It was not a sustainable a construct. It was like impossible. You're going to have a point of no return. So I pulled all my retirement funds out of the stock market and bought gold. And then the next thing happened was the stock market crash. And I'm sitting there rosy as can be. And everybody else is just like, tanking in the stocks. And it's like, wow, man, I just like started opening up, because it's like, wow, I'm something's guiding me here, and I'm going to go, nurture this bond or this relationship with whatever's guiding me, and just follow that resonance. And so it guided me to let go of, fire this person at the office and do this. And it was just like, I was so shy before, and it was like I started standing on my own 2 feet and speaking my truth. And it was like, wow. And it's just like it pulled me through some fires, and it was like the Kundalini rising thing. And then I sold the business, and I was blessed with the resources to go discover. And my intention was, when I sold the business, I loved my business. I did and it was a joy. It was like a passion. It was not a job. It was a hobby. It was just absolute. I was on I traveled the world, and I was on golf courses at sunrise, from Maui to southern Florida to Maine to, everywhere, every state in this country ahead of the tournaments, tuning up the greens with the superintendent, showing him my equipment and how to do things. And it was like, oh, the coolest job in the world. And I was fixing sports fields for professional teams and stuff like that. And it was like meeting this, the coaches and the players, and oh, it was so fun. It was like, and I was just a lawn boy, but I followed
more than just.
Yeah, but I followed my joy, it was just like I followed my. I borrowed $1,500 to start that multi-million-dollar business, and it's like I quit my job before I even had a job, and I started this landscape business because I bought a house and had to landscape my own house. I said, man, this is what I got to do. I got to work outside. I love working outside, so I landscaped for 25 years, and I evolved it into a specialized business where I did stuff that nobody else did. So I didn't compete with anybody. I actually wrote my own prices, my own specifications for projects. My last project was the Rose Bowl because they use it for because they use it for Hollywood. They wanted to keep it natural grass field. So I showed them how to build a field with a drainage system. Anyway, long story short, I got into that business and went on this journey, and I met quantum physicists, biologists, doctors and gurus and shamans, and I met some of the most famous, former CIA operatives and black ops people. And I got to meet some pretty cool people that just opened my eyes up to a world that was just far more colorful than anything I'd been taught by mainstream. Mainstream just don't tell you nothing. They don't want you to know. And I'll tell you what, if there's an active word for love, it's discovery, just so you know. And that's what I went on. I went on this journey. And me and the Spirit had this agreement, or I just told Spirit, I said, you know what, I'm going to spend my money as fast as I can, because I know the sooner I run out of money, I'll be inspired to start another business and something that's even greater than what I did before, because I trust you.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I thought I was going to start a new business. And every time I got into something, it was like, no, I'm not supposed to make money, because I was always steered right out of it. I spent thousands of dollars and get my license to become an independent insurance adjuster. They can make a tank full of money and then travel and, go where the storms go and help people. And, I was thinking all these things, but then things just started happening. It was like, no, I couldn't go to the banks anymore. Oh, that I forgot to tell you. Oh my gosh. See, I'd get sidetracked and I forget everything.
No, it's good. It's good.
I'm trying to go so fast, but I found out about the tie-in with the banking and everything, that call from Discover Bank, and they wanted me to sue my ex-wife, who's the mother of my 2 children, for bankruptcy for the $14,000, because I had a divorce decree that held me harmless. Yet the bank said that, sir, your divorce decree falls under state law and we fall under federal. And I says, well, what good does the damn thing do? It's like, come on, really? It's like, what a scam. So what do I got? What are my options? Well, you can go sue your ex-wife. I says, no, you're barking up the wrong tree. And the next thing I know, I put the word out to Spirit. And I says, okay, Spirit. And we already had this relationship I was working on. I says, please help me understand the gift hiding behind the appearances. Wow. Next thing I know, I get a woman, I put the word out on Facebook. These are the things you have to do to push the doors open so that the answers can come flowing through, because the answers come through all my other cells in you. I have to trust in you just the same. So I put it out there. This woman comes back, says, go, check this guy out. And I looked at his YouTube videos. And I says, the next day I was on a flight to San Francisco, started going to his conferences, found out how they were discharging debt and how there was hundreds of people getting in line to go on stage to tell their stories, how they got the titles to their cars and their trucks and their deeds to their homes. And I'm talking hundreds of people in multiple states where this guy's going around. And then you got agents coming in and interrupting the meetings and everything. They shut them down and everything. This is like, this is like, wow. I was waking up to, the whole illusion that debt is an illusion. And I got, I was guided to get my affidavit of status through these people, which is basically a statement that becomes public notice when you file into the public record, that states that I am a sovereign being and that I am a flesh and blood human, and I am not a corporate fiction that they make you as you're born. See, you're born and your birth certificate is registered in commerce, and then you're all of a sudden, you're really given no choice but to follow the rules of commerce, and you don't know it, but that's kind of how they play this game that 3D. That 3D game was played, and that was part of the slavery system, to teach us, to not go with mainstream, to be responsible for the choices we make. Everybody wants to belong, so they have a tendency to just follow what everybody else does. And so
yeah.
I had to learn the hard way that I had to take responsibility for the choices instead of casting the blame on the structure.
Mm-hmm.
I had to take responsibility for myself, and to see this darkness as my lesson bringer, my lesson giver, and to embody that awareness, then that darkness sheds that, brings that light into my purview, and I'm emboldened, I'm empowered to basically say, thank you, but no thank you. I don't want to play your games anymore. And so I opted out of that structure, declaring that sovereignty and saying, no, I don't need a driver's license. I don't need a state ID, because that's a form of consent. That's a contract agreement where we agree to conform to the structure. And so the more I found out that I was letting go, instead of seeing it, when I got a notice from the state saying, we're not going to renew your driver's license, they give you all these threats and stuff. You better pay your traffic tickets and It's like, no, you know what? I'll take this from the bright side. I'll say that you're trying to kick me out of 3D. That's fine, because I knew that 2012 came and went, and that's when I was introduced. Spirit came to me because I had discharged all my debt like everybody else, but then I had these Wall Street attorneys, the FBI and the IRS and the banks and everybody, the credit cards. Everybody was coming after me for the money, and I had to, put the word out to Spirit. Help me, give me the words here. Next thing I know, this old man, the banker, introduces me to this old man who makes a phone call to me that says, God rest his soul, Pete Peterson. Thank you, Pete. I know you're with me right now, buddy. Hey, we're doing this. Anyway, he came into my life for 3 years, sat by my side. We talked together. We worked things through together. We did things together. It was a person that I could talk to that was on the same level, same playing field that I was, that because there was nobody that knew what I knew within my family and friends circles,
Right.
Within my circle of trust. So it was a blessing, and he introduced me to the One People's Public Trust, and this was a former world banking attorney in the name of Heather Ann Tucci-Giroff, who was at the highest levels of finance in the World Bank, was called to be the lead investigator of the 2008 financial collapse. Well, she uncovered the uncoverable. And oh my God, she proved the existence of a planetary slavery system and came out with a paradigm shift report, explaining the slavery system and the depth of it, and that there was no fixing it. It was so systemic throughout every industry, every nook and cranny of industry. It was through the bloodstream of society, and it was just, there's no cleansing it. You're gonna have to rise above it. Well, she went through using the same laws of governing commerce on the planet. And here's the beautiful thing about what happened. In 2012, she came out with the paradigm report proving the existence of the planetary slavery system, and going forth with a claim to the Bank of International Settlements, the parent company to the IMF and the Federal Reserve, which are the parent companies to the corporations called the countries, which is the parents to the states, which is the parents to the counties, the parents to the cities, to the parents to you and I. So, I mean, this is a corporate structure of the planet, which is a corporate is a fiction. It's a false, it's a story. A fiction is a story.
Yeah.
It's a stack of papers. It's rules. It's not law. It's not truly law. It's just rules governing commerce. And we're all in this law, this rule of commerce. It's all about money. Money's the glue that holds the illusion together. So when I figured out that money was the glue, I had to detach from the glue that held it together, because you know what? If the universe was going to reflect that freedom back to me, I had to embody that freedom.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to become dependent upon a fiat currency or a false narrative construct, then you know what? Spirit has to honor that choice within me and can't interfere with that. So it's going to let me go through the shit that I got to go through, whether they're going to come repossess my motorcycle or whatever the case may be. So I let all that stuff go, and I'm not going to go into that. That's
No.
I had my stuff repossessed, and I mean, it's just like, you know what? I just took everything and I said, okay, no resistance. I shared my messages with the sheriffs that came to take my stuff and saying, you know, you're not doing this lawfully. There's no warrant here. There's nothing signed by a flesh or blood human being. It's all stamps. You know, it's like nobody's taking responsibility. So it's like, this is a false narrative that you're enforcing, and you're kicking people out on the streets. And it's like, wow, I can't live in this. And I have children, and they're going to have children. And it's like, you know, if you knew what I knew that whatever I left this world to be, I'd be born back into this world with whatever I left behind. So I couldn't bury my head in the sand without doing something about it. The first thing I thought I had to do was fix it. And guess what? I was humbled by the darkness, because I thought I had to take the darkness down, because I took the laws, the paperwork, the information that I was given by Heather, and thought I was to use that information to go turn around and sue the judges and the bankers and everybody for all the violations of the Constitution and all this kind of stuff. And I found out that, you know, it's so systemic that there are no courts of law. I mean, the courts are all corrupt. I mean, it's just like, there's nothing that's real out there, because I've been down that road, and it's like, oh my God. So I let that go too. And it's like, Spirit told me in so many words, after going through jail for 16 months and going through the mental health hospitals because I refused to comply with the rules of the court and how they want to operate and get me to enter a plea and all this stuff. And I says, no, thank you. I don't want to play that game anymore. And then when Spirit finally deemed me competent to proceed, because I was able to glean the information through all the trauma that I went through, and seeing that my job was not to fix anything, not to attack the darkness. That's just perpetuating the 3D battles that go on for eternity. That's wars, that's conflict, that's polarity. Mm-hmm. So I was guided to stand in this neutral place, this third position that nobody ever tells us about. They tell you to take the red or the blue. You're either for or against, you know, you're good or you're bad. It's like nobody ever tells us there's this I that I am in the center of the storm, or the eye of the storm, where there's no battle going on, and it's peaceful and it's clear and the water's calm and you can see your reflection, and you know, and have clarity with everything. And it's like, in this place is where all the information flows. There's all the insights, all the answers you seek, all the value you need to harvest to get your food you need and all the clothes you need. All is given in this place of neutrality between the polarities, like the neutron and the atom, you know, holding that central place where there's no spin and it's just neutral. It's like balancing the scales. There's no right or wrong here. It's true justice. It's like just is, you know, it's like so perfectly balanced in this place. I went to the courts and I said, thank you, but no, I don't want to play. I'm going to take the third option. Well, there is no third option. You either got to take a plea, or going to, you know, you served enough time and you can go now. No, I don't want to plea. I have no interest in a plea bargain. I know who I am here. And well, then you got to go to trial. I said, no, I don't want that either. I'll take the third option. Well, next thing I know, the public defender comes in as I'm in court, ready to meet the judge, and she says, you know, we think we found the third option. And I just smiled and I said, thank you. Yeah. And I thank the judge from the bottom of my heart for all the shit that I went through for the last 16 months in jail and the mental health hospital and all that stuff that they tried to scare me with. Yeah. But Spirit told me that, you know, fear is just a shadow. All you got to do is gather up the courage to face that fear and step into your trust, and in that place of neutrality. Without fear, In other words, to enter the gates of heaven, intelligent infinity, your abundance, to gain access to your treasury direct account, your trust fund set up by the Creator. All you got to do is be one with the Creator in that place without judgment, good or bad, right or wrong, evil or, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3D. Our purpose here, what we are here to do now, is to embody sovereignty, our freedom. And we can only.
Oh, you froze. Oh, yikes. Can you still hear? Oh, yeah, you froze. Yeah, you froze up a little bit. Okay. All we're here to do.
So,
yes.
Yeah, we're here. Eventually, every one of us will become a sovereign being. And it's up to each and every one of us to claim it. No one is going to bring it to us. Nobody's going to do it for us. So what I'm here to share with you is so that you don't have to go through the things that I went through. I know that I built this bridge so that I can help people walk across that bridge. I can be that helping hand in a sense that just in the sharing, planting the seeds within you today, if it resonates with you, when the time comes when you're prompted to move, I give you the assurance that I will be there with you because I am one with you and the Creator, and we're all here to do this together. And there will be no more courts. There will be no more banks. In fact, the tide of light that's coming through and flooding this planet right now is coming through at such an intensity that it's going to rip us from the shores of the banks, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
So when you lose your job, fear not. When you lose your bank account, fear not. When you lose your stocks, fear not, if it should come. I don't know how it's going to come. I don't pretend to know. I just share my story that I've been through in hopes that whatever my experience, in other words, I get joy from sharing my journey because of this place I now find myself, sovereign above man's law, but under universal law of one.
Yeah.
All of us are created equal. All of us have equal access to the same abundance that I have access to. Abundance to create and manifest the dreams that you have within you. And really, here's what I'm here to tell you too, is that I put forth an intention in 2011 to produce to bring into manifestation a sovereign realm of abundance. I had to come up with 4 words or less by the guidance of the shaman that I was dealing with at the time, was sovereign realm of abundance. But I didn't know at the time I was giving permission for spirit to push, pull me and drag me through creating it for myself. Now that I've created it for myself, how it bleeds into the rest of myself, the rest of the world, all I can share with you is that it seems to be reflecting it back to me and everybody I meet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it's in my local universe, and each of us is our own universe embodied within the human instrument. And we come in contact with resonant universes that harmonize with one another for purpose, to share our stories, to share our gifts, to share our vibration. And my DNA touches your DNA, or my waters touch your water, because my waters resonate with my DNA. And it's through that resonant field of that water, or that plasma that exists between us, that we touch one another. And our auras are much bigger than we think we are, just so you know. Yeah. And there's this 5D grid that overlays this planet that we can all affix our vibratory rate to, or attune our vibratory rate to, by harmonizing our thoughts, our beliefs. In other words, by detaching from the belief structures of third dimensional reality. In other words, don't keep watching TV hoping this or that happens.
Right.
that is a play to continue to harvest your currency, your life force energy, to keep you clinging to something on the external. I'm here to tell you it's an inside job.
Yes.
And each and every one of us is going to be guided so that we can claim it ourselves and embody the personal empowerment, because this is the time for the empowerment of the human race. And each and every one of us is going to claim it for ourselves. It's not going to be handed to you on a silver platter like I was waiting year after year after year. After 2012 came and went, and the foreclosure on the corporate structure of the planet, I expected everybody to stand down and repurpose and tell them on television and everything. And you know what?
No.
What do you do when you make an assumption? You make an ass out of you and me. And I waited and I waited and I waited. I'm sitting there, I'm drinking in the bars, and I'm doing myself disservice. I'm getting thrown in jail for drinking. And that's what I realized after a while, as the pattern became recognizable, because Spirit had told me to step into my purity with unflinching determination. And that included the mind, the body, and the spirit, and harmonizing all three of, let's put it this way. I'm responsible for the mind and the body. The spirit already is in purity. I have to harmonize myself to meet it halfway, because it's got this helping hand out there trying to reach the hand that's, down here. Those are the two hands in the Michelangelo thing coming together. Yeah. It's like we're they're reaching down and we're reaching up, and it's like we have to work on ourselves and do this together and be worthy of that connection. To raise our vibration, we have to have thoughts of purity for the benefit of all I am, we are, under the law of one, as we are guided by the principles of common law. And that law is simply the golden rule: do unto others as you would have others do unto you. That covers all 10 commandments in that one law. Yeah. As soon as you come up with 10 commandments, you complicate things. Deception resides in complexities, and the complexity is built from there on. And now we got codes and statutes this thick, in the books. And it's like, you know what? That's where your codes are indecipherable unless you pay counsel. That's another harvesting mechanism of the structure. It's all about harvesting energy. Third dimensional reality was harvesting energy, herding everybody into the football arenas to keep us, flocks of sheep into churches and football stadiums and political rallies and, fights and wars. And I mean, it's just like, that's all harvest. You want to be food or loosh for spirit, or do you want to be a partner with the co-creator, with the creator in you? That's the question we got to ask ourselves. We're being asked about right now, and we're going to be pushed and prodded to let go of those shores. And I'm here to tell you, the sooner you let go and let God and go with the flow, you know what? Let the current carry you to your destination. Your higher self knows exactly where you want to go more than you know, because it comes from that place in the future that you want to get to. It's coming from the future into its past, kind of thing. We're merging the timelines all together right now, and we're bringing the future into the present, and we're healing the past, present, and future by the choices that we make in the now, because all we got is now.
Yeah.
So harmonizing, neutralizing the pH in the body, okay, at 0 point, or just above neutral, 7. 7 is the neutral on the pH scale. Don't become too acid, or the nutrients will flow through your body and your body won't assimilate the nutrients. Don't become too alkaline, or the body will bind the nutrients and won't release them to be nourishing to the body. So you want to be right in that neutral zone of 7-ish, and that's kind of where you want to be, balanced in your thoughts and your polarity. You want to be out of judgment consciousness, good or bad, or evil, or judging the president for this, or the Clintons for that, and the wars and the bankers for this and that. You know what? That was then, and this is now. We have permission to release the past. Don't bring the past into the present, because the present is the gift.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
There are no laws. There's no rules right now in the present, unless you consent to them. That's your choice. Me? I was pushed out of 3D, and I gladly accepted because, you know what? I'm a grandfather now, uh, and I want to create and manifest a sovereign realm for them
Yeah.
because when I saw what I saw over here when I was in the darkness, it's like I couldn't sit idly by and let that go, knowing I have children. They're going to have children someday. So it's like, I thought I had to fix things. Well, I'm just here to tell you so you don't have to go through the crap that I went through. Don't try to fix anything. Don't try to battle anything. Because the more you battle your shadows, because all is one, all you're doing is battling your shadows. You're slashing at windmills, and they're just going to grow that strength of that storm with a windmill,
Yeah.
and it's going to, it's that darkness will grow in virulence, and you can't ever beat your shadow. You can't even run from your shadow. But you know what you can do? You can diminish the shadow by giving it no force. By standing directly center under the light bulb instead of standing right or left of the light bulb and casting a shadow, you move center under it. You no longer cast a shadow, and you got no battles.
Mm.
You've just tamed your dragons, because now your dragons within become your ally, because it's like it wants to go do something, but there's no battles to fight anymore. So it's like wants to do something. Well, then you say, well, let's go fly over here. And then, you know what? Hopefully I get to fly, because you know what? Spirit took my vehicles away, my earthly vehicles away. It took my motorcycles and my car, my truck away, and those kind of things. And I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? I got to open up to something better, whatever that better might be, whether it be a spaceship or my own Merkaba. I don't know. I believe in infinite potential.
Yeah.
And I know who I am, and I'm much more than this human instrument. And so are you.
Yeah.
And there are no more wars, and there will be no more wars where we're going. There will be no more sickness where we're going, because we will heal our bodies by aligning the mind, the body, and the spirit in harmony with one another. There will be no more illness. There's no more room, because I'll tell you, cancer cannot survive in an alkaline body. It's impossible for disease to survive in an alkaline body, period.
Yeah.
Forget
Yeah.
it. So it's that simple. No, that world wouldn't tell you, because there's no money in a cure.
Right. That's right.
Okay? That's what that money, that paradigm survived on the false currency, the false prophets. In fact, we were warned about the false prophets. Okay? We were warned about, well, here's the metaphor of Moses leading the people to freedom in the promised land. Is like, what does being in the red mean to you in financial terms?
Yeah.
It means being in debt in financial terms. Well, what does the world now find itself in but a sea of debt?
Mm-hmm.
Well, doesn't it make sense? I could part the Red Sea because I could prove to you that debt was an illusion. Yeah. It's a false narrative that you agree to go pay slave labor, go work for some enforcement agency of the structure as a police officer, enforcing a false narrative construct. You know what? What if I told you that there's something far greater waiting for you on the other side of that? And all of us are going to be, I hope there's an interim step where we don't have to wait for everybody to find their sovereignty, and we don't have to go through something. You know what? But I trust in spirit. I trust in everything. Yeah. I know at least.
Oops, you froze again.
Yeah.
Oh.
Am I okay?
Okay. At least, yes.
The universe will reflect back to you in your local universe. Whatever they're projecting on the television screen, pay little or no attention to it. Your Bible scriptures will tell you, pay no attention to the rumors of war. That's a metaphor for all the lies on the television. Don't pay attention to the mass media. It's all owned by the same group of fiat currency manipulators. So, you want to play that 3D game, you will be held to those rules and those standards and those laws and that construct. Me, because I chose to let go of it. I haven't had a bank account since 2012. I haven't, I haven't had a job since 2013, 14. Um, I just don't live in that world anymore. And I'm here to tell you that the universe provides. I'm given all that I need. I may not get all that I want, but you know what? That's the difference between giving up what my ego says it wants and allowing spirit to provide what it knows what I need and want from a higher perspective. Because we shouldn't all have what we want until all of us have what we need. There's a lot of people on this planet that do not have what they need.
Right.
And so there's a lot of work to be done, and we will have all. Bashar, I hope your audience, is familiar. He's a great resonant channel for me, and he says the new definition of abundance for this new paradigm is to trust that you'll have everything you need when you need it, and not before. And you know what? To live in that place, it means you don't have to carry any weight with you, and you can travel light. And I mean that literally and figuratively. You travel light. You can just you have access to all you need when you need it, when you reside in this trust, because the Creator has given you this. It's even prophesied in your Bible about the inheritance that will come to us, and this new paradigm that we're birthing. And I'm here to tell you that inheritance is here because it was all bottled up in the One People's Public Trust foreclosure. It took, when it foreclosed on the corporate structure of the planet, it took all the corporation's assets on the planet, pooled all the creation since the beginning of the creation into this pool. That means all the space, secret space program stuff. That means all the coveted technologies. All this stuff is here and now when we're ready for it. And the sooner we let go of that old paradigm, the clinging to the shores of the banks and stuff, the sooner that stuff comes into our local universe for use. Okay?
Yeah.
So we can only be filled with new light and information when we become empty of the Klingon of the old.
Yeah.
Pardon the Star Trek term there, but we're here in Star Trek times because all that technology is here in the now, available for us, and this is where we're going for the next 1,000 years. In the next 1,000 years, we're going to have floating cities. We're going to have, be able to move cities out of the way of storms, and we're going to have a beautiful paradise here on Earth. And the sooner we can, let go of the old, we can hasten this manifestation of this heaven on earth that we're here to manifest. And that's what the children are coming into the earth for. It's like, it's going to happen with or without you. And if you get taken out because of your resistance, see, if you move into a state of resistance, if you want to cling to the shores, Spirit's going to honor that choice, but you will manifest illness and you will be taken out of the equation because you're not going to be able to handle the vibrations coming into the planet. And that's okay too, because that just means you're going to come back into the planet at a higher vibratory rate, and you'll be able to resonate to the new frequencies a lot better because you're not attaching your mind to the old paradigm that you've been programmed and conditioned to adopt. So our awakening is about detaching from the former beliefs. It's called Agreements. The Four Agreements is a wonderful read, by the way. It's a very, very powerful, simple
small
read. Simple, but if you adopt and embody the principles embodied in that book, you will detach from the ego, detach from all the agreements you've made with the external world, and even with yourself, the agreements that this is good or bad for you, and da 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 da. I mean, there's it's like the agreements that I need this or I need that. I don't have any needs anymore. Oh, I mean, I have this holy matrimony now, the true holy matrimony.
Yeah.
And it's not this thing where I got to have a possession called a wife. I mean, God knows I love, the the woman, of course, but I mean, it's like I don't have this idea that this other half is going to make me.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
but this is the thing when two come together, 1 and 1 is 3 now. It's not 2. When
Yes.
you get it from this other perspective,
Yeah.
okay. So it's much more powerful that way, that relationship, if that's meant to be. But I've detached from. I'm completely whole unto myself, and and complete acceptance of what is, because it just is, and that was the path that I took, was law and justice, and I found out what it really is. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
now I am the law, and I am the my truth, and
Yeah.
I embody it. I live. I'm a living trust now. I'm a living trust, and I tap into that trust every day. Every day I get to embody that trust, and go with the flow wherever spirit takes me, because I don't go anywhere because I don't have an ID. I don't have a
Yeah.
driver's license. I don't have a passport. I don't ascribe to that script because I know who I am. My signature now, I don't sign on paper. I have an energetic signature. I communicate with the one in you that is watching me through your eyes, and everyone I greet. And we've been advised to see the Christ in all, and that's what we need to do, and follow that guidance. And if somebody says, no, I can't have that, or no, you can't get on this bus, that it means the spirit doesn't want me to go that direction, or whatever the case may be. And I say, okay, well, thank you very much. And I'll get on the bus going the other direction. And you know what? I'll get on for free. And I go, and it's just like, where am I going now? It's like, cool. Oh, I end up in Santa Monica, or I get on this boat and I end up on Catalina Island, or I get on, I cross the border into Canada. It's like, I go on this adventure into the unknown, and it's just like, what a trip, man. Literally and figuratively, it's a trip.
That for sure. Oh, I love that. There's a couple of things I want to go back to. You spoke of the affidavit of about the sovereignty and the one people's public trust. I want to talk about those two. Does everyone will become sovereign, but is it something that?
No.
Well, no. Okay, can you talk about that?
Yeah, you don't need to. What I did back then, and back in 2012, or actually I did that, 2012. I got an affidavit of status declaring my sovereignty. If you want, you won't be able to do that now. It doesn't hold true anymore. They changed all the rules and all that. It's like you don't need 3D's permission. You don't need anyone's permission,
right,
to know who you are.
Yeah.
Okay. To establish this rapport, this relationship with the unseen. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to tell you, each and every one of us has an entourage just chomping at the bit to establish this bond, this connection, where we can then become a bond servant to the Creator itself. And that's, I get my own mind's idea of what I want out of the way, and I let Spirit have this instrument to do what it wishes to do with it. I don't know what it is, but it promised to take me to places. So I'm, in creating these things together. And it's like, we will change everything together. And it's like, okay, I'm yours. And I let go. The affidavit of status is not, it's not something I'm going to tell anybody to go out and do. I'm just going to say that if you're going to be, if you get a traffic ticket and you feel like you want to say that, you know what, I don't ascribe to the slavery system. I don't want to pay anybody for anything. You know what, I admit I went, I speeded or whatever, but you know what, I didn't cause any harm. There's no harm under the law of one, or under the common law. There can be no judgment without injury to person or property. So all the other laws are just rules that we consent to be ruled by. And you have the permission of the Creator to say no thank you to the invitation to go to the courts, and just let it go and let them do what they want. But I'm going to tell you, you better be prepared to have your credit rating destroyed because you're not going to pay the ticket. They're going to throw all these threats at you in the mail. Your ticket's gone from $50 to $250 because you're late, and da 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 da. And it's like, okay, thank you very much, but no, thank you, I don't want to play. And okay, well then your credit rating is going to be destroyed, and you're not going to be able to renew your license and all that stuff. Well, you know what? I'm just going to say that's 3D saying sayonara. And if you want to take it as a blessing, then you can continue to follow that path and say, okay, Spirit, I'm going to take your hand and you're going to guide me through this, and I'm going to trust in you, and you're going to be taken and guided to rise above those structures that would harvest your currency or your energy called fiat money that you go to work for every day and slave for, that they harvest taxes out of and insurance out of, and this is ad nauseum, registration fees and licenses and it's like, all your bills are prepaid. I'm just here to tell you, almighty creator, all your utility bills are prepaid. You're double paying. Every time you pay, you're paying those companies double because they take it out of your trust fund already.
Yeah.
It's already paid. Just so you know, it's like, it's all a lie. Everything's a lie. But if you're willing to let go of your house, because you want to embrace your sovereignty and freedom, because you lost your job, and you're losing your sleep at night, and you're feeling tension in your body because you can't pay your bills and stuff like that. I'm just going to tell you that's trust me, that's Spirit prompting you to let go. It's okay to let go of those thought patterns of belief that are holding you as a tool for spirit of darkness to feed off of, because that's what you become. You become food for the higher dimensions. We're not at the top of the food chain, contrary to what you think. Just so you know. It's just,
so what you're really saying.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, finish.
Well, I'm just saying that everything is designed to harvest information on Facebook. They want to harvest your information. They want to sell your data to marketing firms, and that's what's making them bank. And that's why you're getting ads that pummel you, this, that way, and one thing and another. I mean, that's why they know everything about you, and they can sell you this information. They can sell you this virus protection. It's just like everything is designed to just suck up that currency, and it's called life force.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's life force. You can say, you know what? This is how I build up my vibration. I don't give my energy away.
Yeah.
Unless I have an opportunity to share it, like I'm sharing it with you today. And sharing it with you is sharing it with me, because I'm getting fed just the same, because this is very healing for me to share the joy that I have from the, the love that I glean from all the darkness, the light that I glean from the darkness, the light of empowerment. Because, the paradox of the darkness, pushing me through all the shit that they pushed me through is all it did is strengthen me.
Yeah.
It forged my spirit and raised my vibration to such a high degree that there's, they can't touch it. The darkness can't touch me anymore, because I see there's nothing but light. It's just hidden light. It's awareness that I've not yet harvested from that darkness.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there to yield potential. It's potential energy. It's waiting for us to transform it into usable energy itself, transform it into light. And we do alchemically by instead of moving into judgment consciousness, saying, accepting it and allowing it to flow through, the answers come, and you say, aha, I get this. I see it from a new perspective. And that's what ascension is it's rising above, the earthly grounded caterpillar existence to a heavenly existence. You see yourself as this from a higher perspective, and you see everything from a higher language. You interpret things from a higher perspective, and you see the goodness in all that is. Yeah. And so there's no more suffering, and there's no more judgment. I mean, suffering comes from judgment. Yeah. And judgment, fear is judgment. Mm-hmm. Okay, if we move into a state of fear, it's because we judge it wrong. We're interpreting that experience in error. We're translating it from a third dimensional perspective, designed to harvest darkness, because
Yeah.
third density is ruled by darkness. It
Yeah.
will always be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's masters of 3D that will always be.
Yeah.
And that's just perfect the way it is, the construct, the way that's set up. It's meant to teach us the lessons of love. And that's what we're supposed to get out of it. And when we get out of it, we rise above that. And that's what they're there to teach us is, you know, get out of my realm. I don't want you to tell everybody else how to do this. It's like, go, 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 go. And it's like, okay, I'm going as fast as I go. So anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
back to the one people's public trust.
Yes, yes. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, the one people's public trust came and it revealed the slavery system, and it revealed the foreclosure on the corporate structure of the planet, and meeting with Heather and hearing what she had to say about visiting the Rothschilds and the Dragon families, and you know, everyone that controlled and steered the currents or the currencies. Basically, she gave me the multidimensional words that.
Oh, you froze up. Dang. Oh, can you hear me still? You froze.
I can hear you.
Yeah, okay, because you froze up. It's like, darn. Yeah, so she gave you the one multidimensional word. Oops.
Words.
What was the word?
The multidimensional words that I were given to the courts that basically were to communicate to me and activate my DNA and communicate to the structure and the handlers of those that were operating the structure at a multidimensional level, you know, of what's going on. In other words, notice to principle is notice to agent doctrine. Remember, when I hand these documents to one agent of the structure, it goes all the way up and down the structure, the highest levels of that structure's notice. And so I was able to inform the structure through my process and embody the wisdom and the awareness that came through the documents that basically shared that I was eternal essence embodied in the human instrument, also known as, you know, Robert Lawrence Wendell, who I am, you know, and I am guaranteed and bonded and insured and all this kind of stuff by eternal essence, by the creator, by the infinite creator. And I am a bond servant of the creator, and that I am not a corporate fiction, and that anybody who claims otherwise to, you know, put it together in writing, because anything they say in court is just babble. Okay, it doesn't have any meaning or enforcement. Nothing that is spoken in the courts has any meaning. You have to get it all in writing. And so I had what's called a declaration of rejection without dishonor that I gave to the courts in any of the charges that came forth, because I knew I had harmed no one. If there's no harm, there is no foul, and there can be no judgment in a true court of law or common law court. So I came forth with those documents, and of course, the universe, you know, I communicated at a certain level with the multidimensional beings on the other side of the bench, and also communicated with me, which took me a year and a half to basically come into complete awareness of what those documents were actually sharing with me, to fully embody it's the awareness of eternal essence, the one I am, and dismiss my own cases. So I was able to dismiss my cases. Thus, the universe deemed me competent to proceed by dismissing all the charges without prejudice, and letting me walk from the courts free of any charges or any wrongdoing. And because I'd come from this place of thinking I needed to take a structure down to being humbled to such a degree that I moved centered and took that third option and walked. And then I was in this place where I had to embody, I embodied my sovereignty. I found my freedom in the way I interpret my reality now, where there is no judgment. I don't judge. I am without prejudice. Without prejudice, I am. I am that I am, without prejudice, without judgment. So in that place is where you can walk and do and be anything you want to do and be without harm, and nobody can do a thing to you. You can't touch you. Nothing. As long as you know who you are. But the other half of my intention was to create abundance. So then I was set upon this journey to go off in abundance. And well, the moment I got let out of church, I'm sorry, out of court, pardon that slip there. But as soon as I got out of court, I was given the words of the documents. It's called a factualized trust from Heather Ann Tucci-Duroft. And it was a factualized trust, which basically, again, shared the words that were allowed me to go to the banks, allowed thousands and thousands of people to go to the banks and actually share the information with the banks about the trust. They want to give us direct access to our Treasury direct accounts. Because we're still thinking 3D, we're going to get money from the banks. But really what those documents were saying, or speaking from a higher dimensional perspective, not only were thousands of people led to believe by the trickster to go to the banks and communicate with those upper echelons in multidimensional language about the Treasury direct accounts, that was all false currency and and that every one of us is an embodied treasure. That's what we are. When you can interpret the documents from a higher perspective, like I was able to come into the awareness of through my journey. It was only through my journey of this last year of being cast out into the wilderness without any money and walking through the food lines and going through the shelters and seeing myself on the streets and sleeping under bridges and all that kind of stuff, that Spirit finally told me, it says, look, if you don't like your situation, it's up to you to fix it. Well, I had already been through the courts about how money's a false narrative and all this stuff. It's like, well, if money doesn't exist, then okay, well, if that's, and I'm sovereign and I don't harm anybody, then here's what I'm going to go do. Is like, I was getting on buses, sharing love and gratitude, just the simple currency of love that now flows through me with the bus drivers. And they would give me free rides to go from Long Beach to Redondo Beach and back every day, because I love Redondo Beach versus Long Beach. And so I take the bus there and back every day to work, to do my spiritual weightlifting every day and embody, telepathic communication and further strengthen that trust that I have, that I can, set a fear aside, because I have these expectations I have to pay all the time. And it's when you go from paying for everything all your life and always having money to do that with to all of a sudden doing things without money, it's like, it's a trip, man. It's weird. It's like, okay, this is a new way of doing things, so I'm just going to share love. And, it's like sometimes Spirit would say no, and I'd say, whoa, I'd be really grateful. And I'd be humbled, because you start to get to this point where you just nod and walk by, and it's like all of a sudden the guy would, halt you in your path. And then sometimes he'd say no, and I'd have to humbly accept that and say, well, no, that maybe Spirit wants me to go the other direction. And I'd sure should. I walk across the street the other direction. I get on the bus on that side. And instead of going back to Long Beach that night to the shelter, I went as far as the bus would take me the other direction, was to LAX, where the bus drops you off at LAX. And I'm all like, well, what am I supposed to do here? So I look on the bus maps, and it's like the nearest place I can go, because I like the beach. I want to go to the beach. I picked the number 3 bus. The 3 bus went to Santa Monica, downtown Santa Monica. And it was the next bus that drove up, and I'm like, shit, I'll go to Santa Monica. I love Santa Monica. So I jumped on the 3 bus, and he took me. It was like, okay, cool. So I hung out in Santa Monica for a while, and then it's like I went into, I took the bus up to, Malibu, and, went into UCLA, and I went to the Museum of Natural History. I took the bus everywhere and the light rail everywhere, and I learned to travel light, basically by love. And that would be my currency. And I'd be like, wow, cool. And then I got tired. I knew I had to harmonize my body, and eating out of the food lines was not good food, and it's certainly not high vibe food. And I really didn't like being in the line. And it's like, all these channelings. It's like, you know, you got to hang around high vibe people and stuff. And it's like, man, I'm not around high vibe people. And it's like, if you don't like your situation, Lawrence, it's up to you to change it. You know, take responsibility and change it, fix it yourself. And I said, well, if I can get free bus rides, I'm going to go into the grocery store and grab myself some healthy food, and I'm going to walk through the cashier's line, sharing that same gratitude.
Yeah.
That took a lot of courage. But you know what?
Yeah.
What I was told is, you know what? If you have enough courage, you can face any fear. It's okay to have fear, but just gather up that courage and walk by faith and trust me.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you, I am a living, breathing trust, because that's how I live now.
Yeah.
And everything I do, I am given all I need. I don't care if it's clothes on my back or the food that I need. All is given when I need it. Yeah. In the same fashion, I'm attaching to the quantum financial system. I am tapping into the universal trust I have with the unum, with all that I am, we are. In other words, my universe is reflecting my kingdom back to me. Yeah. And it is there for each and every one of us. And the Creator has it waiting for each and every one of us to embody that freedom and that treasure, where you can go now and become the artist you wanted to be, or the musician you wanted to be, or the poet you wanted to be, or the inspiration you wanted to be, or, you know, the teacher you wanted to be for the young children, the cook you wanted to be for the healthy people, whatever it is you have a dream to be and do, follow your own resonance. And you know what? I'm going to tell you, if you follow the resonance, your highest joy, is Bashar, who's a good instructor on this, follow the joy. Follow your highest excitement in every moment. And that's what I was told to do. That's exactly what I do every time I meet up against a brick wall. Like when the cashier says, "Are you going to pay for that, sir?" And I'd say, well, I know I don't have money. So I'm saying to myself, so I say, well, no, you want me to put it back? No, you can set it down right here. Or yeah, you go ahead and put it back. And I said, happily, I put it back. And so I leave the store and I say, well, thank you, Spirit. Am I supposed to go up the street? And I'll go up the street. And then some street homeless guy on the street will say, we're sitting down on the street corner. And I was going to go to another Whole Foods, because I get on a bus and go to another Whole Foods store. And some guy on the street says, hey, and this is in Santa Monica. And he says, do you know which way it is to Long Beach? And I said, well, you're a long way away from Long Beach, but it's that way. And I said to myself, Omen. And I said to myself, okay, well, I'm right there at the bus stop. And I'm saying, I guess I'm going to get on the bus and I'm going to go to Long Beach. Well, that's what I did. I got on the bus and I got to the light rail, and I took the light rail to Long Beach. And as I get off on the light rail, I'm looking at the Greyhound station. So I go to the Greyhound station and see where the buses go. And it's like, that's just kind of how I got around last year.
Yeah. So would you say that the one people's public trust is the same thing as what you're saying is the universal, the living trust?
It's exactly right. It's like the one people's public trust. It pooled all the assets of every false narrative out there into a pool. Right. Where we can have access to that value. I don't care if it's by a spaceship, or whatever the case may be, to travel, whatever. We're going to gain access to the infinite abundance that we can co-create a new reality. Okay. How that comes into about, I don't know, but the words itself spoke to me, because everybody thought it was like, we're going to be able to go to the banks now. Right. And get access to our Treasury Direct accounts. And that's why Heather's in jail right now herself. She's been, fraudulently put in jail for standing up against the structure and doing this for whatever her part of her mission is right now. And I don't expect her to be in there for very much longer. But a friend of hers decided to go ahead and access his Treasury Direct account and buy an RV with it and get title to the RV and all this kind of stuff. And of course, the structure came down on them, and the deep state came down on them and rounded them up, and came after them. And of course, that's they were offered millions of dollars. Millions. Heather and the friends were offered millions.
Yeah.
Zip it, and they said no. This is for all I am. We are. And when you see this love coming from these people, I'm going to stand behind that 100% because that's who I am. I mean, it's like all for one and one for all. There's no separation here.
Right.
And that's what the one people's public trust is. I trust in everyone. No judgment. In other words, when that officer stops me from getting on that light rail, he may be stopping me from getting in harm's way or going the wrong direction. I accept that because I trust the one and all to guide me where I need to go and do and be for whatever purpose that may be. From a 3D human body perspective, human mind perspective, I don't know what's going on, but I don't need to know. I just need to enjoy the ride because I've set my desires aside, my ego, self-importance, and all this kind of stuff aside to embody, there's take a ride on my own dragon and fly where I never thought I could fly or go, and that's essentially what I've done is I've tamed my dragon within, and it's become my ally now, and now we are one and the same, and it's like, wow, the battles are always within. And when you can grasp the concept of the truth of the trust in the one people's public trust, and then when Heather came out with the factualized trust and you read the documents, as I read the documents, it spoke to me in multidimensional language, which activated DNA within me, which triggered awareness in me that did things to me that helped me to see from a higher perspective. Now it kind of like gave me the permission to go do and be, because it told me that everything was prepaid, and the factualized trust told me that it was like a living trust. It's like somebody who embodies the awareness, because there's a complete difference of an energetic transfer. If my body is in fact a transmitting utility, which this document said it was, this is an instrument. It's a high-tech instrument or a transmitting utility of data. I'm a data receptor and transmitter.
Yeah, you think about it. It's true.
Okay,
yeah.
Each of us is.
Yeah,
and that's why we're in places we're in and fulfilling missions we're not even aware of, just by being.
Yeah.
But anyway, the factualized trust is this: a trust fund in the third dimensional perspective is set up so that the family's wealth can be put in a reserve until the person reaches a certain level of maturity where they can access their trust,
right,
without being irresponsible for it. Well, I'm here to tell you that all that money that was pooled in the resources from all the corporations of the planet was put into this trust, and it's held in trust for each of us as we raise our vibration to become responsible sovereign beings. Completely responsible. Because when I say responsible, I'm saying that such a degree that I do not need health insurance, because I take responsibility for the food that I ingest and the things that I put on and in my body. And I trust in spirit to tell me not to eat such and such, because it'll stop me in the stores when I'm not supposed to eat that.
Yeah.
Because it knows that I've got too much candida in the body or something, whatever the case may be, and that I need to rebalance my pH and da-da-da-da-da. So the long story short.
Oh, you froze. Hey, everybody, thank you for doing this. Oh, there you go. You froze. Long story short, that's where we left off. You were probably talking still there, but we didn't hear you after that. Long story short,
if you want to reside this factualized trust, or actually the One People's Public Trust, in the documents I put forth says that I am insured by the Creator.
Ah,
Okay.
yeah.
And that insurance policy is free. Okay.
Yeah.
By the Creator. So I opt out of insurance. I don't have to pay for insurance. I
Right.
trust in the Creator. So guess what? I'm never going to have to put in the hospital unless I do something stupid
Mm-hmm.
and become irresponsible. Then I'm going to pay the price.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So it's about growing up and evolving from children of God
Mm-hmm.
to becoming mature, responsible, and truly sovereign. A sovereign is 100% responsible for the choices they make in every aspect of their life. That means that there's no human being that can embody darkness or malintention and have access to a trust fund
Right.
by the Creator.
Yeah.
They're not going to gain access to higher dimensional quantum financial. Okay. You have to have a heart and a mind of purity for the benefit of the one we are, because there is no separation.
Yeah.
That's the illusion.
Yeah.
So it's mind, body, spirit, responsibility. It's wholeness. It's embodying the wholeness in every aspect, the purity in every aspect, the purity of thought, the thought patterns that we hold true to. You know, we have to take responsibility for and stop casting blame when we're on the streets. Okay.
Yeah.
If it happens, we're on the streets. You know, there's no healing until we take responsibility. If we keep casting blame, guess what? Spirit's going to keep you in that perpetual cycle, and you're going to be taken out of the equation. That's the way it's going to work. It's called tough love, and that's how it works. It's called fatherly love.
Yes.
and that's really how it comes down to.
Yeah.
And we need to step up and become all that we came here to be, the best we can be. And that's what I do, is I be the best I can be in every moment I can. I embody the highest. I take the high road.
Yeah.
And that way I'm ensured that whatever promptings I get aren't going to be judged within myself as a punishment. You follow me? In other words, if I get stopped from getting something, it's not because I made an irresponsible choice. It's not I can't see it as a judgment. I see it as a prompting that, I need to go this other direction, or I need to stop taking this or that, and I don't need that kind of thing. So it's a whole new way of living, a whole new way of seeing, and a whole new way of being. I mean, it's just like I'm learning how to walk in a strange new world, and it's quite exciting because there's a big unknown. I mean, all I can do is just go. Where do we go next?
Yeah. Yes. So true. So true. You brought up the quantum financial system, because that was one of the things we were going to talk about, was accessing the quantum financial system or the trust. So you want to talk about that? I mean, I know you talked a little bit of, just mentioned it now, as far as the vibratory and rising.
Okay. As we raise our vibration, that means we can only do that through the detachment from 3D, because 3D is lower vibration. To rise above it, you've got to let go of it first. Mm-hmm. And then and only then can the quantum come into you, to where you can have access to the quantum financial. Now, as far as I can tell, I can only speak from my experience right now. And I haven't, all I can tell you is that I've gained access to everything I need when I need it.
Yeah.
Unfettered access, it's called. Those were the terms used in the factualized trust to gain access to this trust account. But I'm not gaining access to digits on a bank account or a bank card or uh, you know, fiat currency or gold or silver or anything like that. This is just getting what I need when I need it.
Yeah.
Okay. So from that quantum perspective, I get from the One People's Public Trust, I get access to public transportation.
Mm.
Okay. Free public transportation everywhere I go.
Yeah.
I don't have a job to be at or, where I have to get there. And I don't have my mind's idea that I need to go anywhere
Mm.
because I've completely surrendered my third dimensional ego mind over here. I've given up my self-importance, in other words,
Yeah.
and I've given this instrument up to the creator to be of service to the creator. It now guides me and takes me where and when it needs it to go. And to be honest with you, as far as I've gotten, I mean, I've only gotten, this last year was what was kind of my initiatory phase of learning how to communicate or learn the communication of spirit, how it works, and how to gain, how to travel
Yeah.
on this earthly plane. Now maybe I've mastered how to do the earthly thing. Now maybe there's another step where I can embody a higher mode of transportation still that I've yet to gain access to, and maybe that's coming tonight or tomorrow. I don't know.
Right.
All I can say is where I've been through my journey is I've gained limited access as far as being able to get the foods I need when I need the food and get the clothing I need when I need the clothing or whatever I need
Right.
is given to me. So I don't have the mind's idea that I need a computer system. I just put it out there. I trust that anything that I need will be given. I'll be, spirit will have somebody come by and say, you want a computer, or you need this, you need
Yeah.
that, and see what I'm saying? It's just like, I'm going to
Right.
be open to receiving whatever those gifts may be, saying that, obviously I need something because some people want me to write books and do all these things. And it's like, I don't think I need to write a book or anything like that. We need to rise above that kind of stuff because my spirit will communicate everything telepathically to the grid. And, it's like anybody have access. I'm completely transparent. In other words, where we're going with this, there's no lying either. There's no lying.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm telling you about stepping into purity, everything's in clear transparency. I am like 100% crystal clear transparency because these documents were, if you look at my Facebook page, it says I am 100, I am, integrity and transparency and all this what I am. And it's just like it's the crystal clear light. And that's where we're going with this, where there can be no more lies and no more deception and all this kind of stuff. So, we're not going to be able to, I'm going to be an open book.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to be able to tap into, my spirit, and what I'm going to give them a piece of that, and they can read me like a book. That's where I see we're going with this. Energetically speaking, you're going to feel me and know what I've been through.
Yeah.
And it's like that's how things are going to get transferred, not by paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really wouldn't make sense to bring that in a higher dimension. As I mean, you figure books and things like that. I don't know. I think it's
well. This is artificial intelligence. Okay, this is the stepping stone or the crutch that gets us to our wholeness, where we tap into our innate technology, our cellular tech.
Yeah.
Our DNA is the highest advanced technology right there. It's like, whoa. I mean, what we're capable of is just quantum, and, beyond quantum. So
Yeah.
we're the instrument. We're the most advanced computer there is, right there. I mean, in fact, we're living
Right.
in a virtual reality.
Right.
I mean, it's
Ah,
yeah, it's like
it's a
we're
trip.
playing in our own system right here. Yeah, yeah. It's like we're embodied. We're like, I mean, I have these thoughts like we're like consciousness that created the artificial intelligence that merged with the artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
You know, so that we could create a creation within the artificial blended with the organic. It's like a merge of the two, the artificial, you know, the inorganic and the organic, or the artificial and the organic. You know, it's like a merge of the two, where, you know, the AI, you know, the robot that's going to be working behind the counters, you know, in our future here, is because and the AI that picks up our trash can, and, you know, and all this, because everybody's going to lose their jobs because of artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Well, down those other timelines, and no, I don't know, you know, this new timeline we're going down, you know, I hope we don't go down that same road, but the artificial intelligence, it's kind of like a merge of the artificial intelligence, where the artificial intelligence got so intelligent, it could express emotions and everything, but it didn't have a soul.
Mm-hmm.
And we figured out how to do that by putting DNA into the computer,
Yeah.
and then we kind of merged with the computer. I don't know how it works, but I mean, all I can say is that you know, we're a blend of technology, the most advanced form of technology created billions of years ago. I mean, as you can only imagine what it is, but you know, I don't know where we got off. Oh, the transmitting utility. You and I are just an instrument of creation.
Yeah.
You know, don't just attach yourself to the body.
Yeah.
That's so limiting. We're so much more than this.
Yeah.
This is just a part of us,
Yeah.
a piece,
Yeah.
a fractal expression
Yeah.
of the whole.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope I answered your question, but please ask me the question. I will try to answer, because it's so hard to answer. You know, you say quantum financial system. I'm just telling you, I'm accessing the quantum financial system because I'm walking right into the grocery stores and getting what I needed in complete transparency, right in front of everybody. I'm not hiding anything. I'm not stealing anything. I'm just, I'm operating in a higher frequency, and I'm working at operating in a place where, you know, there's just love and gratitude, and you know, where there's no need for anything but love to flow. And you know, that's the currency of the new paradigm. It's the organic, the original currency that we were made of.
From creator. Yeah.
The energetic signature. Because see, right now we sign with a false signature on a credit card that transfers energy from one account to another. Right now, it's just a pure organic form. My energy signature, just, it's like walking through a checkout line, ka-chink, ka-chink, ka-chink. You know, it's like it's a done deal. Bye, thank you.
Yeah.
And you go. And you know what? When you get pushed out on the street, as long as they want to perpetuate the slavery system and people want to play in that slavery system, let them honor that choice, because that's what I was told to do. Honor all as you would wish to be honored in your reality, Lawrence, and I will honor your reality. Don't force anybody to do what they're not ready to do right now. But somebody's got to.
Yeah, go ahead.
You follow me? And there's a lot of people that are very happy right now in their comfort.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I got bored in my comfort.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just my nature. It's like, you know, I recognize patterns, and patterns become very boring to me. And I just like, wow, there's something more to this. It's like, there's got to be something more. I mean, I let something go that I really, really loved.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was feeding, you know, planetary slavery system through the taxes I was paying and through the interest I was paying on loans, and, you know, and the licenses I was paying and everything. It's like, I couldn't honestly continue to contribute
Yes.
to that structure anymore. So I had to let that joy go, knowing that there's something far greater than. And, at that time, I thought I was going to create a whole new business. It was something where I became a free
Yeah.
enterprise.
Yeah.
I mean, literally a free
Yeah.
enterprise, like in Star Trek,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
And I operate outside the taxes and outside of withholdings, and anybody that came to work with me and get a real paycheck and get currency, 100% currency for the energy that they gave me. I thought that's the way it was going to go, but even that currency can get stolen from us through market manipulations and banking, robberies and money manipulations. So anything external can be stolen. So when I realized those documents that Heather produced in the One People's Public Trust created a structure in such a way that nothing can be stolen from the One People's Public Trust, from the quantum financial system, it can't be stolen from you in any way, unless you choose to give it away.
Right. But then you're not on that higher vibration.
Right.
Then you're still maintaining down here. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
so what you're really
be,
saying is,
what I'm saying is raise your vibration.
Yeah.
And when you start to get pushed out of 3D, there's already a financial system waiting for you. In other words, you're not going to have to go out on the streets and go through the stuff that I had to go through, because I'm here to show you the way to if you're struggling right now, to go ahead and let go fully and embody higher frequency awareness and set fear aside and put yourself into a state of ease and trust and walk in that place of bond, bond with the Creator, become a servant to the Creator rather than to a slavery system. Would you rather not be a servant to the Creator, to the higher good of all, than you would be to a planetary slavery system that perpetuates wars and suffering and conflict? And I'll come in. There's no. You don't need any time to think about it. I mean, really.
Yeah.
But some of you have families, and things are going smoothly, and I'm hopeful that for all of you that have everything going smoothly, that maybe there's an interim step in this, where the Federal Reserve just goes away and everybody doesn't have withholdings and everybody can earn, keep all their money because Trump is in there doing something to create a better stepping stone that stops the perpetuation of the deep state that was going on, kind of like an interim step to get us to where we're going, because I'm living in your future, in the now.
Yeah.
In other words, from most people's perspective, I'm living 60 years into your future. At least from information that I've gleaned, where I'm at right now is 60 years in the future when the Grand Portal is discovered. So it's like, whoop, and the Grand Portal is within each and every one of us.
Yeah.
So it's a very personal journey, and the quantum financial system's ready and waiting in the background when you let go of the material world. I mean, Jesus, the master, once said, he says, if you want to discover the kingdom, you got to let go of your earthly things. And that means your thought patterns, your beliefs, the constructs, the structures, the insurance, the everything, that holds you in limitation.
Yeah. It brings you freedom and joy.
Yeah, and freedom and joy comes from setting fear aside, knowing that there is no such thing as death, that there's nothing to be afraid of, that God's helping hand is just, it's not coming to crush you, it's coming to just shoo you out to freedom, like the fly in the window. We want to shoo the fly out the opening in the window because we don't like flies in my house, and it sees its freedom out there. So, God's not coming to crush us. It's trying to just shoo us out to our own freedom. Don't judge it to be anything other than, okay, it's your turn to let go and let God. to embody the trust that it says on the dollar bill. In God we trust.
God we trust, yeah.
And in the one people's public trust, it could be rephrased as e pluribus unum, of the many one, that are both on the dollar bill.
Mm.
It's like it's always said it in plain sight, but we still accept the fiat currency. And when Moses led his people to freedom, to the promised land, they took to the gold. Yeah. And you know what? They never quite made it to the promised land because they went to the external representation of value. You know what? We've always been the value, and the value has been basically our signature in the fiat form that created the money that gave you the loan. The only bad thing is that the banks are supposed to act as trustees, that we paid back the money, but they weren't supposed to charge interest.
Right.
The interest is the usury or the slavery on the system.
Yeah.
So that's where the slavery came in, and that's where the harvesting came in, and that's where we pay 3 times as much for our homes, and it's just it just became all perverted and everything because those third dimensional aspects that were given the dominion over us were basically led down the path of darkness instead of being, they had an agreement with the Creator to do certain things a certain way, and then they hijacked the system.
Yeah.
And that's why you and I are here. We came here to fix that. It wasn't supposed to be that way. I mean, it went bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took us deeper still into a deeper darkness and push man beyond anything we've ever experienced before. And when we actually push the Creator into a higher awareness, because that's what we are, is we're data receptors for the one that we are. And we're explorers of these strange new worlds that we create, those strange new beings and things that we do. And we go through these cycles of ascension, starting out at ground zero again. We'll start over again. We'll play another game, but from a higher perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, something you said too, like when you talk about in God we trust, and there, we had, before I open up the questions and ask you anything else you want to say, but, we had mentioned in a text that for me, it's like you can know God intellectually, but to embody that and have that full faith and trust, right? Because somewhere along the line, you knew, you felt something. It wasn't just up here. It was really in here, so I think that there's a distinction between knowing and feeling, right? And knowing from this place that there's a Creator, and that there is this source, right? God, Spirit, whatever you want to call that, universe. There is this one, right, that is directing everything, and that we are in the connection with that.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Well, you're like stalling out, but I get you.
Okay.
Yes, there is a very distinct difference between an awareness, and then a knowing. Intellectually, God cannot be intellectually known.
Right.
In other words, it can only be experienced through the beholder.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing I can say to you to get you to know.
Right.
Personal relationship. When I get some awareness, tell me if I'm good.
You're good now.
When something comes into my awareness, I'm one to put my toes in the water and test that awareness, to see if the water's hot or cold.
Yeah.
To feel into it, and then once I get a feel for it, I jump into it wholeheartedly, trusting that I'm ready to learn something. And then, you know what, the learning comes. And by opening up to that trust, the learning and the insights and the awareness comes. And it's like, oh, you realize that you're in partnership. It's not like thing that we're here to worship. In other words, you are the creator embodied. You are eternal essence embodied in this human instrument already. It's just like we've been taught it's something out there, but it flows through every particle of creation that we're made of, and that is floating all around us, that we breathe, and that it's in the table, it's in the inanimate object, it's everywhere in every atom of creation. So it's like there's no lying or getting around. We're not fooling anybody but ourselves when we lie to someone. It's like when we lie to someone, we're lying to ourselves. And it's like, it's so foolish when you come from that, nurturing that relationship or that bond with that unseen orchestration of spirit that's going on.
Yeah.
And then you have that spirit dismiss your cases by becoming one with it. And it's like, wow, it's like, it's like, that's where the magic flows when there's no charge, there's no judgment. And it's like, it's 0 point is where, when, in other words, power, there's a paradox to power. Mm-hmm. We have a tendency to want to control the external world because that's how we've been brought up, to control everything. Mm-hmm. But the true power of the creator can only flow through when we let go of control and step into our trust. Yeah. Because the creator can't flow through us if we're going to be in control. If we're in the driver's seat, the creator can't do its thing. But if we sit back in the back seat and let the creator be the driver, and without judgment, just be the witness, the observer, the watcher, mm-hmm. The creator can have its magic to stand down everything that's coming at you.
Right.
Well, I don't care if it's the IRS, the FBI, the banks, the judges, everybody. You just watch it all go away because.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I had spirit take me out of harm's way because I had been. The first court case I went to in Colorado, I had to go through with the trial because I had to experience it. And I just watched it and I witnessed how the programming of the jury went on and everything. And I knew I didn't stand a chance, and I just took the heat, and I was sentenced to 5 days mm-hmm. for driving without a license, and without plates and all that kind of stuff. And well, I tried to walk out of the courtroom like, I don't need to go to jail. I don't consent to it. And well, I was tackled and thrown in jail, and I was served my 5 days, and I thought I was going to go. Well, then the courts found me, said they were going to charge me with resisting arrest. And go through another whole court case and be charged. And it's like, whoa, well, I'm not going to go down. Anyway, it's like, I've had incidences. I went through so much that I cannot be in denial that I have this, we have this helping hand who just wants to do nothing more than to nurture this trust between spirit or the divine and the human.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It wants to work through us to create heaven on earth. And it can only do it through us, through that trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
Through surrender.
That. Yeah.
Through
letting
surrender.
Go.
Yeah. And your power to stand down the enemy or the adversary comes in that surrender and that trust.
Yeah. Knowing he's got the plan for sure.
I mean, I'm living trust, and I've been through it, and I'm just here to
Yeah.
tell you that's what that's my experience, and I'm sticking to it.
I love it. I love it. Well, do you want to open it up to questions? Are you
Sure,
game for questions? All right,
absolutely.
cool. So we're gonna open up the questions one question at a time. I see Matthew has a question. Living in the now or trying to? Is it wrong to ask a question? I'm not sure. Did you understand that?
Well, there's a difference. There, Yoda says, "Do or do not." There is no try.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you that's when you take the leap of faith and you start you go down this road to your freedom. Um, there's no going back. There's no going back, and because if you do, you're going to be betraying yourself, and you're doing yourself and your offspring a disservice. But living in the now, and that's kind of what the quantum financial system is. It's about living in the now. It's not projecting into the future what your needs are going to be. It's not, you know, I might grab a couple days, a few days worth of food at the grocery store, so I don't have to go there every day. But for the most part, I go there every day because if I'm going to be prompted to move, I don't want to be late in the prompting. I want to be ready to go. Because I don't know what's coming. I don't know if I'm going to get out of harm's way or whatever the case may be. But I'm sure Spirit will intervene and somehow and say, look, you got to go. Whatever. It's like I'll go and I'll be trust where to go. And that's kind of how I live. It's just like I don't decide where I go, when I go, or how I go. I just wait for the promptings and I follow the promptings. And that's the kind of surrender that I embody. That's the kind of level of trust that I reside in. Because of all the stuff that I've been through over here, I'm like fully embodied in that trust, and I am an instrument of that creator so that it can do and be however it is I'm the rest of my creation.
Yeah. Well, too, and I think also when you were talking about when you have, oh,
I don't know if there is such a thing as trying to live in the now. There's only living in the now. You don't have to bring anything in the future, in the past, into the present. In other words, all the belief systems, anything that'll hold you back, we're given permission to let go of, because all that's going to do is bind us. It's going to slow us down, kind of like a ball and chain. We're given permission to let go of anything in the past. That means, if I do this, then that. That's a linear program. Let go of all the linear programs, because there's no such thing as linear in the quantum.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's no longer linear.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, it goes back to what you were saying, is that when you realize, when you got the prompting and you let go and surrendered, you knew that the guidance was there and it was just what was needed at the time for whatever it was. So you learned to trust. So when you let go of the banks and let go of the job and all of that, it was a prompting because you knew and you felt something of this source guiding you, that you thought was going to take you somewhere else. Yeah.
With tension builds up, mental stress. I mean, the pointers will come in many, many different ways. I mean, Spirit speaks to us through emotional sufferings, debt issues. I mean, in so many ways. But when it doesn't feel right, put the question out to Spirit in such a way as not to cast blame to the external world, but from an open-hearted perspective, assuming that the rest of the world is nothing but a mirror reflection of what you are within. Ask from that perspective, help me to understand what it is you're trying to share with me, and Spirit will answer in that fashion. It will answer in kind. in the way you want to receive, when you take full responsibility for your condition. I'm in this debt because, not because the IRS is a corrupt organization or this or that. It's because, well, maybe Spirit's trying to get me to let go of this. Help me to understand, what you're trying to get me to do. Ask me to let go. Well, give me some signs. Is my, I don't like my job. I hate my job. I just can't stand my job. Well, that's the first thing to let go of. But you know what? Spirit can't provide the answer for you until you've taken that leap and letting go. And you can't be filled until you become empty. The bridge won't be built for you until you jump off that cliff.
Yeah.
That's how you demonstrate faith.
Yeah.
And it's through that faith, or by that faith, that the Creator is given the permission to send his angels in to save you, or to support you, to allow you to take the next step and the next step, because this is a joint operation, or a coordinated cooperation as co-creators. As we're doing this together.
Yeah.
As one with that guiding Spirit, trying to come through you. Instead of following the script that comes from out there, it's all an inside job.
Yeah.
Always has been.
Yeah. Yes, so true. And I think once we really grasp, I feel it's for people to know the options that they have, that it's a choice that each individual can make. But as you said, when the promptings come where it doesn't feel right, it's not resonating. I know when I quit my job, there were all the signs. They cut our hours, things started happening, but I was asking ahead of time, right? Like, okay, am I supposed to leave my job? But I didn't want to leave because of fear. So I held myself there because of fear. And so for me, it was like God was saying, okay, then if you're not going to leave, we're going to make it so miserable for you, basically, right? So then things started happening to where I knew in that moment, okay, he's telling me it's blatantly right there in front of me, so I have to do this.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about fear. In fact, fear is kind of like your trigger mechanism. It's like the moment you make a decision based on fear, you better have this red flag that comes up and says, whoa, don't make a decision based on fear. Because what you're going to do is you're going to give the spirit of darkness more permission to bring more shit to be fearful for. And that's what you're going to do until you finally let go. Like you say, it's going to make things more and more difficult. Yeah, you can go that route. In fact, that's what we tend to do anyway. And that's, in fact, I'm just as responsible. That's exactly what I do. Sometimes I'm a slow learner, and it takes a couple knockings up alongside the head before this guy says, "Oh, I get it now." And you finally let go, or you say, "Okay, well, shit, I'm on the streets now. Now what do I do? Okay, well, you know what? Next time I'll try to get a little sooner, and it won't be so harsh."
Right.
It's like I say, the banks are going to try to rip you off the shore. You can let go because you can. Some of us are more sensitive than others.
Yeah.
And some of us are just too comfortable in our uncomfortable position. It's a funny thing, but so many of us are comfortable being uncomfortable.
Comfortable.
I mean, uncomfortable being sick, even.
Sick. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, I'm uncomfortable with these drugs and these prescriptions of anti-anxieties and the opioids and all this. I'm good. It's like, no, you're not. That's speaking to you. Yeah. Now you're a slave to the drug. Oh, but my insurance pays for that. Well, you're enslaved to the insurance. Well, my company pays for that. Ad nauseum. It's like the system's set up to make it easy for you to be a good slave. It's like, you know what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't you see the bigger picture? Don't you see it?
Right. Right. And I think it's just when we become aware and we have the options of knowing. When you know and you see the truth, as you did in the banking and the corporate, everything's a corporate and things like that. When you really see the truth, then you can actually go within and start to have this communication with Father, or and saying, okay, obviously this is a sign to me, right? Because now I've got the truth of what is really happening. So that's what we're doing here. We're delivering the truth and bringing people this information based upon your actual story of your journey of what's happened, right? So where you've become aware of the corrupt system. So now people listening and seeing this have an opportunity to be able to go, oh, okay, I see. And I mean, really, when you look at the bigger picture, it's pretty blatant out there that it is a slavery system. I mean, I always look at the thing like the Hunger Games where they're in that bubble and everyone's controlling it. I'm like, we're no different. We are in this bubble being controlled by, and we can't go outside the bubble. Really, you can't explore outside of that
it's a matrix.
until we take back the authority, like you said, and become sovereign. But the only way you can become sovereign is you have to let go of the 3D world. So I love that.
And you don't need 3D's permission to do this.
No.
Yeah. You can establish this rapport with your entourage, with your higher self, and pay attention to the promptings and follow your own resonance on your path, because this is a very personal journey. Each and every one of us is going to go through the process of having to let go of that paradigm, because the structures are crumbling as we speak.
Yeah.
And nothing will be left unchanged. Nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And where we're going with this is just a beautiful thing. And so it's not like there's anything to fear. It's nothing but, I'm just here to tell you, it's nothing but good.
Yeah.
And nothing but everything that's been kept from us.
Yes.
I mean, we've been kept in the dark for a long time.
Dark ages. Yes. We have been the dark ages.
I mean, they don't call it fossil fuels for nothing. That's prehistoric.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a combustible form of energy supply. That's a radiant form of energy. We're going from radiant to magnetic. That's the polar swap. We're going from radiant to magnetic. There'll be no radiant side effects from anything in the future. In other words, side effects from drugs, side effects from pollution.
There's none of that there.
There's none of that where we're going with this. It's all going magnetic. We're going back in instead, within, instead of, there's no savior out there. There's no someone out there that's going to make us whole. There's somebody that might co-partner with us, but it's not like the construct that we've adopted before, where somebody else is going to make me more of who I am. No, this is about taking 100% responsibility and embodying your own sovereign, integral
I love that.
essence, because your eternal essence embodied in the human instrument, and each of us is going to come to know eternal essence on a personal level.
Ooh, love that. Oh, yeah, it feels really good, really good. Oh, well, thank you, Anthony, for that question. He has another one, Mother Nature, question mark. I'm not sure what the question is, but do you know? Well,
the only thing I can say about the surrender and the trust is there are going to be some Mother Nature is kind of like a wild card.
Oh, okay, got it.
Okay, and Mother Nature is going to, Spirit may be prompting us to move and go someplace else. I'm going to say that I feel like I'm in good hands because I'm completely surrendered. I'm free. I have no encumbrances, and I can move on a dime. That I'll be kept out of any harm's way of Mother Nature's wrath. But yeah, there's going to be some shifts, because we are a fractal expression of Gaia, and we're a part of the membrane of Gaia, and that as we shift, so shall Gaia. And as Gaia shifts, so shall we. It's like a feedback loop here. And so there's change coming. And as far as nature goes, yeah, the storms are going to get get harsher, and things are going to happen, earthquakes and shakes and rattles and rolls, and uh, just I'm just going to say, tune into tune into your own resonance, and follow that guidance, and everything's good. Everybody's where they need to be when they need to be. Just offer it no resistance and just go with the flow and trust it.
Yeah, but you'll be where you're supposed to be if anything should happen. Yeah. He has another question. Once again, I'm a slow learner as well. I love the big picture or my source, but I have a hard time of leaving the ranch, leaving thousands of cows. So he's on a ranch and he has cattle.
I remember you.
Yeah, from the last time.
Yeah, my friend. I can't.
Yeah.
Again, all I can refer you to do is refer you back to your guidance, your promptings, your resonance. You'll be, if you're not liking what you're doing, then you're being prompted to let go of that. Maybe you need to sell it. Maybe you need to give it away. Maybe I don't know. I'm not one to tell someone what to do. I just offer, if you're struggling and you're not happy, then you know what? It's up to you to change it.
Yeah.
And take responsibility for the choices you make, and accept that responsibility for the choices you make, and trust in that resonance, that essence that's flowing through you to go wherever you think you need to go. It's all going to be okay to let go. Because I know the cattle business is one of those lower vibrational businesses that you're involved in, and in one way or another through dairy or meat. So that's a choice that you're going to have to make.
Well, and I say too, why don't, like you had mentioned earlier, asking spirit, and really asking for the guidance to give you a sign for whatever it is, that if you're in fear, or if you're, thinking you have to leave it, or whatever that is, just asking for that guidance, I think too.
Yeah, and I'd ask for multiple signs. I like to get, more than one prompting, because, two or three signs. It's like I'm good with patterns. I can recognize patterns, and when I see the pattern, it's like patterns reveal truth, like a mosaic. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're up close to, one piece of the mosaic, you can't tell what the damn picture looks like until you back away from it and see multiple pieces of the mosaic that come together to form the bigger picture. So ask for a few signs, and start to establish that rapport, and that communication. Learn the language of spirit. That's what it is, because spirit will communicate with us in so many different ways, and everybody has their own gift in that respect.
Yeah. And don't you think too, now this is just not answering, or not in reference to his question, but just in the bigger picture, that if we are starting to question something, this is what my belief is. If I'm starting to question something, then already that's a sign for me, because I'm questioning it.
Absolutely.
Right? Because something is like even with my job, right? So even where I was
you're already talking doubt. In other words, the question is your intuition. That's your first sense.
Yeah.
It knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
But see, the rational mind tends to get in the way.
Yeah.
If you give it a moment, it'll come in and rationalize why you shouldn't do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the programming that we've been conditioned to in the linear third dimensional reality, where we're moving into quantum, where we start to pay attention to the intuition, where, because we get this merge between the intellect and the heart, the intuitive heart and the rational mind. Mm-hmm. So yes, the moment you move into questioning yourself, the only reason you're questioning is because fear's propped up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You just hit the nail on the head. That's spirit prompting you right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what's important too is what I just heard as well is, how when we are starting to share, like I know with my job and stuff like that, I was sharing with people who weren't on the same vibration, right? And so they projected their own thoughts onto me. And of course, I looked at those and I was like, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't quit my job because, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Right? So they're projecting, because we tend to project our own stuff onto other people, right? And so when we take that, so what I'm saying is that people may be projecting other things onto you if these are promptings. And so just to be in awareness of that is what I'm really saying. I think that's important as well.
Well, you're your best guru.
Mm-hmm.
You're your
Yeah.
best guidance system. Anytime you ask somebody
Yeah.
else, everybody's got an opinion. They're going to offer it,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
that's what's going to confuse the hell out of us. That's why
Exactly.
I'm blessed to have been so alone for so long that I've established this just the two of us kind of thing,
Mm.
and and really, it's all an inside job, and you're your own guru. You're your own best guidance system. All you got to learn to do is trust in you.
Yeah.
If you don't trust in yourself, who can you trust? I mean, really, you're going to question everything you're told from the exterior, and then you're going to become a, a ping pong,
Yeah.
batted back and forth by the external world.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't like
That's
that.
true.
I wish I could answer people. I can't. I can just tell you what I've done, and if it doesn't resonate with you, I'm not going to tell you to do what I did. I mean, if it does
Yeah.
resonate with you, if you're already there and you're halfway through it, hopefully I shared something with you to give you enough impetus to just push you over that threshold to go ahead and do what you were afraid to do before, and that empowers you. I don't. I trust that whatever I've shared with you, will one day, you'll be able to reflect on it, and in that moment, you'll know exactly what you need to do. And some of us
Yeah.
just need to be prodded a little bit harder than others and a little bit longer, and that's
Yeah.
perfectly good. There's nothing
Exactly.
wrong with that. It's absolutely
Exactly.
perfect that way.
Yes. Yes.
So don't judge yourself either. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
just because you don't feel comfortable in doing it. But if you see
Mhm.
something that excites you out there, that looks like a better opportunity, and you're really hating this over here, but then I've been guided to follow my highest excitement. You're blessed if you have something that pops up before you let go of something. I've always had to let go of something before something else popped up. And that's been my life. I mean, I've got many stories of that one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been me having to let go before something filled that spot. And if you got an
Wow.
opportunity, you still got a hold of something, you're blessed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I love that. It's so awesome. Any other questions, you guys? Do you have any questions for Lawrence? Matthew's was the last question. I don't see any there. And I don't think you pretty much covered the banking institutions I wanted to talk about, language of law. You really pretty much filled that in. Um, I wrote down your power will be found to the degree you let go and trust, which is what we're really talking about now. Becoming one with source and giving the highest control to that aspect. Did you freeze? I think you froze. Ah, darn. Thank you everybody for listening and tuning in. I don't think you can hear me yet. You froze up. You guys have any questions for Lawrence? Go ahead and put them in. You're welcome, Matthew. Thank you. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, everybody. I don't think he knows he's not, that he's frozen. Let me see if I text him. Oh, there you are. I was just going to text you and tell you froze. Can you hear me? Or you're still, your screen is frozen. Are you there? Oh. You're welcome, Nina. Let him know he's frozen. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Thanks for hanging in there. Oh, these platforms. I love them, but the bandwidth or whatever happens is all this energy from this new moon. Oh, he's going to sign back in. There you are.
Oh,
Hey.
everything goes up.
I was, I was saying we don't have any other questions. But I guess what I want to kind of close with is what would you want to say to all the viewers that's listening and all the ones that are going to be listening? What is something that you really just want to let them know?
It's time to let go of what no longer serves you. It's time to awaken from the dream, someone else's dream, to create your own dream for the benefit of all we are. We've been living under a paradigm of limitation, and it's time to graduate and embody our sovereignty and step into the realms of limitless potential that you are. It's time to step into limitlessness, and you cannot do it as long as you hold on to 3D. As long as you're paying attention to the drama of the projections of the dramas and that illusion, and it is an illusion. It's all an illusion. This whole universe is an illusion. And that third dimensional paradigm is just one dark illusion you don't need to play in anymore. And you're going to be asked to let go. When it's your time, there's someone waiting for you to trust in that can guide you where you need to go, when you need to go. And there's nothing but love out there, and if you can see all the love and everything that comes at you, that's what the Spirit will bring to you. But if you want to judge it, that's what the Spirit will bring to you also. So stay out of it. Stay out of judgment. If you want to tap into your potential, you're going to have to move into, to co-create with the Creator. You can be one with the Creator by moving into that neutral zone, that place without prejudice, because the Father loves both the light and the dark equally, because both have purpose. Yeah. The darkness pushes the envelope of evolution to the extremes, to where when we finally get to this point of ascension, we ride this wave of light to a higher realm of understanding and knowledge. And it's just like we have a predatorial universe, but not predatorial in the destructive nature, because we're eternal beings. We just live in a world that tells us that we have a life to live and that's it. But that's a lie. That's a script. It's meant to keep us in this cycle, repeating, in a realm of fear. And you know what? We're moving. We're here to step out of fear and into love and trust. Okay, love and trust is your safety. It's your safety net. It's your abundant supply. It's your treasure chest. Everything will be given, because love is the only currency accepted by the Almighty where we're going. That's what I had to say.
Wow. Those were such beautiful words and felt on every level. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Lawrence, for your journey, for sharing with us your experiences, your wisdom, your insight, your love, and just by being. So we really, really
Oh,
appreciate it. So
oh, it's my
thank you.
pleasure. I've thoroughly enjoyed the sharing. It's my honor.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Mine,
Thank you.
yeah, mine as well. So, wow, I don't even know if there's anything to really to say after that. It's just, yeah, yeah, can totally feel that. And I just want to thank everybody for joining today, for the questions. Thank you for tuning in, and all the ones who will be tuning in after this. Um, we love you and we thank you. And Lawrence, again, it's just such a pleasure. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Love you too. You're welcome. Love you guys.
Happy Chinese New
All
Year.
right. Yes, yes, I keep forgetting. How long does
Yeah.
that go anyway? 7 days or what?
No,
How long? A
it's
month?
tomorrow. It's tomorrow, the new moon, Chinese New
It's only
Year.
one day,
Well, they might
but don't they?
celebrate longer. They might celebrate longer. I'm
Okay,
not sure. I don't know.
okay, yeah, I don't either, but yeah. So happy Chinese New Year to all you guys out there. So awesome,
All right.
Lawrence. Love you, thank you, everybody. Love you, thank you as well. So, and we'll see you all Wednesday. Yeah.
Good night.
All right. Good night. Thank you. Bye, you guys.
Bye.